Hello and welcome to your Premier Breezes program on DSTV channel 288 NRtv Industry Watch. I'm your host, Rodrick Mashingaidze, and today we are privileged to host a man who is making the wheels of industry turn in matters real estate. He is none other than a business mogul, Mr. Ken Sharpe. Ken, welcome to the show Industry Watch.
Thanks, Roddy. Good to be here.
We are happy that you gave us this opportunity to discuss with you. We know in Zimbabwe that Zimbabwe has got a challenge in matters related to housing. We were told that the last statistics, about 1.5 million people need to be accommodated by the year 2030. And the target is about 1.2 million. And you, as the private sector player, we know you are contributing towards that area. Can you tell us a bit about yourself, Mr. Sharpe?
Sure. As I am well known in my organization as the CEO, Chief Energizing Officer, and we at WestProp have developed a culture of high performance. What do we mean by that? It's easy to talk, but you need to walk the talk. So we're all about execution and excellence. We're about service delivery. We're about achieving our results. And today I'm very proud to show you Pokogara, the residential estate that we're standing on, where there's more than 100 homes that are being constructed in excess of $50 million this development. Right here in Borodale, in Harare, it's happening. We're in the last phase of this development. As you can see, we have villas, gardens, and manors for sale, 70 units. We've already sold almost 20. So the remaining 50 units is the last properties for sale at Pokogara, and then the estate is sold out. What makes us unique as a company, as an organization, is the fact that we don't only sell houses, but we sell a lifestyle, a dream to live life in a better style. And lifestyle communities is what we're all about. Here you can see the security gates behind us. We secure the estate in security sense. We bring in smart technology, innovation to provide CCTV cameras, access control. We do things like solar heating, reticulated gas. These are some of the innovations that we're bringing to the industry. And of course, we believe in building beautiful modern homes. So in a lifestyle estate, it's not just the homes, it's the whole amenities that surround the estate. So we're building sports facilities, some tennis courts, swimming pools, a gym, a clubhouse, for people to have recreational facilities where they live. So they don't have to go out of the estate, they can enjoy themselves in the estate. And that's what we call the live-play concept. And then this is a larger community in Millennium Park, which is a city within a city. And here we incorporate the shop and the work. So our whole lifestyle selling point is we say that our lifestyle estates is where you can live, work, shop and play. So the shopping and the working element is the Mall of Zimbabwe, which is coming, and the office parks that we're building. The Mall of Zimbabwe will also be housed here at Pokogara, or it's yes, a separate entity? It's on the same land bank. So we're sitting now on the western side of the development. Okay. On the far eastern side, which touches Borodale Road, is where the Mall of Zimbabwe is anchored, directly opposite us on the other end of this land. One would like to know, doesn't this come at a price that's a bit too steep? Who can afford to stay around here? Yeah, these are premium properties. Okay. These are really one of the most premium properties in Zimbabwe, so definitely it comes with a price tag, but it's affordable. We allow affordable mechanisms for people to buy properties from us. For example, we were the first in Zimbabwe to introduce the leasehold concept, okay, which allows us to keep ownership of the land whilst the homeowner builds his house. And he can have title for his house, he can sell his house, he can rent out his house, he can pass it on to the next generation, but then he pays a small amount of rental for the land that he's using the house on. And that's a concept that we've developed at Pomona City, another one of our developments. Places here, we have offerings where we can do 30% deposit, okay, 1 or 2 years payments. So that helps our clients to be able to afford. So on average, how much are we looking at the upmarket end of things, a property that's here at Pokogara? How much roughly? So this last phase of properties, they start around 300,000 and go to about 450,000 for a house. That's great. So since 1997, one would like to know what motivated you to get into the real estate sector? You know, it's a good question, Roddy. I think firstly, the motivation to get into real estate was a personal journey. I was driving a truck, a 5-ton truck, as a young man in my early 20s with my wife that I just married. We've been married 30 years now. Great, and congratulations. Thank you. And I was saying to her, you know, when we retire one day, I want to be having properties that we can earn rental from. So I said to her, I want to buy 5 properties in the next 5 years. One that we'll live in, one we'll go on holiday in, and the other 3 we'll rent out so that I can get the money from the rental and not have to worry about a pension. She said, that's a good idea, let's do it. So 5 years later, I got the 5 properties. 10 years later, I had more than 10 properties, and then I kept buying properties. And eventually I realized that all the other business I was involved in, I had more than 100 companies, more than 50 partnerships. Out of all of the businesses I'd ever been in, the one that I wanted to stay in was property. So I focused all my wealth, my resources in property. We bought a large land bank, and some of that land bank we're still developing today.
So Ken, you were speaking earlier that there is Pokugara townhouses, there is Pomona, and there is Millennium. What are the differences that are peculiar to each and every property?
So the properties have unique features. The difference between Pokugara and Millennium Heights is the type of offering. So in Pokugara we're offering homes on stands or townhouses on stands, and in Millennium Heights we're offering flats or apartments.
Okay.
But the lifestyle that we talk about must be in both estates. So when we look at Millennium Heights, we have the same offering there. Tennis court, swimming pool, we have a gym, we have a clubhouse, we have all the same offerings that we'll be offering in Pokugara together with Millennium Heights. And what connects them is the park in between.
Okay.
This is the corporate social responsibility we have to rehabilitate the wetland, to bring into the area between the two developments, let's say beautiful grounds where people can go and sit outside, water features, we can introduce local fauna and flora to conserve the environment, to preserve the environment, part of our campaign of sustainability. But I would say one of the other things in Millennium Heights is affordability. There you can find, when we launched Block 1, a unit going for as little as $20,000,
Wow.
a studio flat. And today that same studio flat is maybe worth $40,000. So the people that bought from us early, they've benefited in the capital appreciation of the value of the property, and they rent it out as well. So as opposed to owning a home, which is sometimes more difficult to rent out, when you own a flat, you can rent it out on a daily rental, like a hotel room.
Okay.
And some of these people are getting $60, $80 a day rental, which means in 1 year they can get all their money back.
Great. I like the fact that you mentioned the corporate social responsibility bit that WestProp is into. We've seen you engaging a number of social actors in terms of marketing WestProp. How has that journey been?
It's been an interesting journey. We were the first in Zimbabwe to look at bringing in influencers, brand influencers.
True.
Japreza is our brand ambassador, and KVG is another one. And we like these individuals because they represented something in society that people are interested in. Music is something people are really interested in, and entertainment is something people are really interested in. So as a property developer, which set us apart, made us unique, we brought these people in as our brand ambassador. And just behind this beautiful home here, that is where Japreza is building his house. I went to see it on the weekend. It's above foundation level, it's coming up, and it's looking great. He's going to have a beautiful home there.
Great stuff. You also recently were part, if not the major contributor in terms of the Miss Universe Zimbabwe, which had taken a hiatus for some time. And we hear that Brooke Johnson was fortunate enough to get a package where she will be having one of your properties for 2 years.
Yes, that's in Millennium Heights.
Oh.
So, you know, we were proud to be part of it. I don't think we were the main contributors or motivators behind it, but we were invited. My wife was one of the judges.
All right.
And I was asked to speak, to give some kind of inspirational talk to the youngsters. And I hope I inspired them about the future. And for me, the reason why I really went there is because personally I feel I'm an ambassador of Zimbabwe.
All right.
I've been born in Zimbabwe in 1973. I'm a Zimbabwean. I love my country. And I feel everyone in Zimbabwe has a responsibility to speak good things about our country. We're all ambassadors of our country. So yes, Miss Universe is one of those elements of society that need to promote Zimbabwe on the international arena. And I'm very excited to see what Brooke is going to do. She reassured us she'll do a good job of promoting Zimbabwe, and that's why we are behind her.
What advice would you want to give perhaps to people out there generally in terms of how they can venture into the real estate business?
You know, I think identify what it is that you want to get out of real estate. Is it that you want to buy a home to live in? That's one possible scenario. Is it you want to buy a property for a rental return and yield, an income yield on a rental return? Is it because you want to develop a property and make money, a profit on the development? Is it because you want to hold a property for many years and gain the capital appreciation that comes? So those are 4 different scenarios of owning properties.
Hello and welcome to the second segment of your show, Industry Watch, where we are privileged to be hosting Mr. Ken Sharpe, a property mogul of repute who is doing so much in contributing to the private sector real estate development in Zimbabwe. Today we are hosting him. He is hosting us at Pokugara townhouses in Harare, one of his premier development areas. Mr. Sharpe, when we left, you were telling us an interesting issue, that there must be consistency in terms of the currency setup. Would you care to just rewind that a bit before we proceed?
Sure. So you know, in any investment, Roddy, you've got to be sure that what you're putting in is what you're going to get out. It doesn't matter if you're an investor in Zimbabwe or in the United States of America. It doesn't matter if you're an investor in your own country or you're investing in another country. So one of the problems that we have in Zimbabwe today is the unpredictability of the multi-currency staying in Zimbabwe. Because government has given a policy until 2025, the big question is what happens after that. So to dispel this and to create no more concern for any investor, government needs to make a clear policy to say multi-currency is here to stay. Let's take this investment behind us. It's a $50 million investment. There are more than 100 homeowners in this development. People have spent $500,000 on a home. They want to know that when they sell that home, they're going to get back their $500,000. If there was some kind of disbanding of the US dollar and they were forced to sell in Zim dollars at an artificial rate, they wouldn't want to sell their property, which means either property development stops or people stop selling properties, which is a good thing for the country. So I think when it comes to any investment, people are risk adverse when they can't calculate the risk. And if you look at price distortions in our economy today, the reason why a 500 gram block of butter is costing $22 in the supermarkets is not because the supermarkets are trying to profiteer or rip off the customers. It's because they can't calculate the risk of the price. So the distortion in the price is showing by the $22, because in actual fact it should be $5. If you go to South Africa, it costs $5. So our customers are paying 4 times more than they should be paying because of this big elephant in the room.
So this must indeed be addressed. There's a call from Mr. Sharpe, a businessman of repute, calling on the fiscal authorities to at least extend the policy on the multi-currency regime so that those who are into business are able to ensure that they continue investing. Now, Mr. Sharpe, we do understand that on Wednesday, the 27th of September, this coming Wednesday, there is a Zimbabwe real estate conference where all members from the real estate development are meeting up in the state capital. Can you care to shed more light on this upcoming conference?
Sure, it's ZimReal Property Investment Forum. It's an annual conference. It's the most prestigious property real estate conference in Zimbabwe. It's the 3rd year that we are hosting it as the lead sponsor.
Okay.
And we're very excited about it because we believe now is the time. Now is the time to build our country. Now is the time to showcase a lot of developments that are happening. If we were to go 5 years back, there were very few things happening. We were one of the few companies that were talking about property investment. 3 years back, many new players started to mobilize resources. And today, I can safely say, just in this area we're standing off Borodale now, I estimate between 200 and 400 million US dollars of developments on the go right now.
So who's expected to attend this interesting and important forum?
There's about 200 delegates.
All right.
Regional players are coming from South Africa and further. All the property experts are there. The likeness of FML, Old Mutual, Rawson, the established property companies that are into real estate, whether it's a real estate agency, whether it's a property investor, a property developer, a pension fund that would be investing in properties, they'll all be there. And the banks, of course.
We are told that it's going to be a 3-day conference. Any part of the programs that are going to be
It's actually mainly in one day,
okay,
from 9 a.m. to 5 p.m.
All right.
And there's a full program of events with many workshops, with many roundtable discussions happening and some keynote presentations.
Any plans on you expanding your real estate program outside Harare?
Yes. I mean, when we look at, again, focus, we not only focus on the market segment we're in, but we focus on the locality.
All right.
So we've had many offers to go to Gweru, Kwekwe, Bulawayo, and do similar developments, but we've turned them all down.
All
and
right.
the reason why is we have a lot of work to do in Harare. We actually have a $4 billion US investment in Harare, just as one company. So to build the existing land that we own requires 1 billion bricks. That's why I'm known as the 1 billion brick man.
All right.
And we have a vision, a corporate strategy, by 2050 to have put 1 billion bricks in the ground in Zimbabwe. And that 1 billion bricks we've calculated on the existing land that we own It will take 1 billion bricks to construct all the houses and offices and shopping malls that we want to build. And it will take about $4 billion US. So this is a large project. We can't find ourselves going outside anyway to do anything more until we finish this project.
We are also interested in you taking us through one of your showrooms so that we see perhaps one
We
of
would
the
love
setup.
to do that.
Then you just let us know
Yes.
this is how it is,
Yes.
so that people also get a feel and see the kind of exquisite taste that you're giving them out there, Ken.
Well, I'll be very excited to invite you on Friday this week,
Yes.
Friday the 29th of September. We're breaking ground. The Honourable Minister of Housing is coming as our guest of honour to break ground on Block 4. We invited him last year, in the end of last year, to come. We took a pic and he broke ground on Block 3, Millennium Heights.
Okay.
And this week we are proud to show him that the last floor, the 4th floor of Millennium Heights Block 3 is being finished. So just in 9 months, we've built almost an entire building of 112 units. And he's now breaking ground on Block 4, the most prestigious building we have so far. And we'd invite you on Friday to come, have a look for yourselves. There's a showroom, we'll take you and show you just in 24 hours how they can finish one of these flats.
Great stuff. And the new block, Block 4, how many units are going to be contained in that?
About 76 units.
Great.
So far between Block 1, 2, 3 and 4, we have about 200 units. And we're building a total of 1,000 flats in that development.
How is the take-up been?
It's excellent. We've sold out completely of Block 3, even
Wow.
though it's not yet finished. And already on Block 4, we have about 30% sales before we started construction.
So we are at one of the homes. Mr. Ken Sharpe is just going to talk us through what it looks like, and we're going to see what it is that makes this home strikingly different from any other home.
So here it is. We're standing in front of this 3-bedroom home. Kokagora Phase 1 townhouses. You can see this resident actually put in a pool. Even though it's on a small stand, he managed to still put a pool. He has a parking area, he has his veranda, and then we go through the front door and have a look at the house, how it looks inside. You're going to come in.
Yeah, Paul.
Some good security features, cameras. I'm sure he's watching us on his cell phone now though.
It's actually very beautiful.
Because these cameras are linked to the cell phone owner. So when someone answers, they can say, "Hello, how are you? My name is Mr. Sharpe. Is it possible just to come in and visit for a few minutes?" I spoke to Mr. Felix, the owner, and he said it was okay. All right, thanks.
Thank you. Hello and welcome to the third and final segment of your premier business program, Industry Watch, where we get to speak to industry leaders who are making the wheels of industry turn in all the sectors that drive Zimbabwe's economy. Today we are privileged to have Mr. Ken Sharpe, who is a real estate developer of note. Mr. Sharpe, when we commenced this discussion, you told us of the need for government to give clarity on the currency issue. You also spoke of the Zim Real Investment Forum, which is on the cards. Now, as we wrap it up, can you just shed more light on what you think is needed in terms of ensuring that our economy is made more vibrant and stable?
I think, Roddy, the important thing to recognize in this economy of Zimbabwe, and in fact in any economy around the world, is that real estate is one of the most important sectors that stimulate growth of an economy. Not only is it the backbone of economy in terms of the wealth that's created from the real estate development, but it's also the security. If you look at the banks that need to securitize loans, they rely on real estate, on property to securitize their loans. So it actually provides the means of capital to grow in the economy. Today we estimate the economy of Zimbabwe is probably around $30 billion US, which is quite big considering where we've come from, a low base. Post the Robert Mugabe era, we can argue that the economy was between 8 and 12 billion. We're now at almost 30 billion. And I would like to see this economy being at least a $100 billion economy by 2030. That is ambitious in 7 years. But with double-digit growth, with the current trend that we're on, I believe it can be achieved. I also think that the President's vision of bringing our economy and our society into middle income is critical. We can no longer have poverty in Zimbabwe. Poverty should be eradicated. And one of the ways we eradicate it is by creating jobs and stimulating investment. And the property sector is one of the most important sectors to focus on to bring confidence in an economy. Look at Dubai. And we use Dubai as a model because at WestProp we say we're bringing Dubai to Zimbabwe. Why should people go to Dubai to buy a property or to look at how beautiful properties are? Can we not build those same beautiful properties here? We can, and we're showing that it's being done right now. Why should we have people go to shopping malls to buy Gucci, Louis Vuitton and these good brands when we can build the Mall of Zimbabwe and provide the brands here in Zimbabwe? So yes, the real estate sector is one of the most important things we have to focus on in this economy.
We've also heard that there are plans to have a cyber city somewhere up there, Mount Hamden. Do you have any plans to invest in that area? Because we are told that the city is going to move towards that end.
Look, I think the long-term plans would definitely include doing something there. But as I mentioned to you earlier, we have a corporate strategy statement to take us to 2050 to put 1 billion bricks in the ground in building our lifestyle communities. And we cannot stop until we've got there. So if we've got a lot to do right now, we are on 10 projects in our company. 10 simultaneous projects going on at the moment, and next year we plan at least 3 major huge projects to be added to the list. We have to focus on delivering, on executing these projects and finishing the projects. Then we can look at something further afield. I think Mount Hampton is a good location for the growth of the city, and I think in the next 5 to 10 years you will see expansion. However, right now today I think there's enough within the existing city limits to develop. I also think that our project that we've got going out that way is Warren, where we have an exciting development, $280 million project, where we're rehabilitating the golf course. We're spending almost $10 million US, bringing the standard of the golf course to an international PGA championship standard. And we have a beautiful housing lifestyle estate around that development.
Okay, so now you speak of that Warren Hills area. You have Pokugara, you have Millennium, and the fourth one is
Pomona City.
Pomona City. Which are the other 6?
So within the estate, for example, where we're standing today, Pokugara, we've finished completely the servicing of the infrastructure. So when we go into these developments, there typically is no roads, there's no stormwater drains, there's no water connections, there's no electricity. So we as the developer have to provide it. And in this development, we spent more than $6 million on providing that. And we're now at the stage of completing the buildings. So when we look at this Pomona residential estate today, the last phase of building 70 units, 70 clusters is going on at the moment, where we have the villas, the manors and the gardens under construction. We've sold about 20 units. They're currently under construction, as you can see down the road there. And that is one, we consider that as one project. But then in Millennium Park, just across the road, we have Millennium Heights, where we have 3 projects on the go simultaneously. Block 3 that's reaching the 4th level, the final level. We've gone up 4 floors. It's the first building in Zimbabwe that has glass balconies. We have vertical gardens on it, and it has lifts, and that is in the final stages of completion. So that's one project just in Millennium. The second project, we broke ground last month in building the entrance, which is a $500,000 project on its own, a really huge, beautiful entrance. And the third project we're breaking ground just this Friday on the 29th is Block 4 in Millennium Heights. So if we look at that development, there are 3 projects within there and 1 here. That's already 4. And of course there's 6 more. So there are multiple projects within a location, because as I said to you, we're building developments to live, work, shop and play. So it's not just houses, it's shopping malls, it's office parks, and it's of course the leisurely facilities. So when we talk of a project, we'll soon be putting construction of the clubhouse facilities both at Pokugara and Millennium Heights.
State-of-the-art, world-class facilities where you live, work and play. This is what the man, the 1 billion bricks man, Mr. Ken Sharpe, is bringing out there. Mr. Sharpe, you say that on Friday there's going to be a groundbreaking ceremony of another initiative of yours at Millennium, the 4th block, you say. How has your interaction with government been in terms of the support towards your initiatives?
Yes, I would like to confirm that we are very pleased in meeting the Honourable Minister of Housing, Honourable Minister Garwe. We met him last year for the first time when we invited him to see our projects, and he actually came to be the guest of honor at the handover of Block 2 of Millennium Heights. And whilst he was there, we said to him, can you break ground on Block 3 for us? So he took a pick and he broke ground end of last year. And then we invited him back this week to see the progress, and he was very impressed to see that we've set a new record. The building is already on the last level of completion within 9 months. 112 units in that building, almost ready for completion. So we've broken our own speed in terms of delivery, and we're excited to invite him as our special guest on Friday to do the groundbreaking for Block 4. So I think in terms of the national housing backlog, the minister confirmed that government is working in collaboration and partnership with private sector. They realize they cannot do it on their own, that private sector needs to play their part, come together with government to deliver these houses. And we're getting the full support that we need from them. We're very pleased. I also think that in the larger picture, in the larger scheme of things, if you talk of 1 million units of housing, even if we were to produce 1,000 a year, that would take 1,000 years to complete. So it really needs to be open to everyone.
Should be holistic.
Holistic in the sense that what I'm saying is even individual people should be building their houses. For example, in Pomona City, we've got 700 stands that we've sold about 550 to date, only 150 left in the last phase.
All right.
And there we're giving the homeowners the possibility of building their own homes. So it's not only us as the private sector that has to play their part, it's also the individual buyer of the stand that has to commit capital to build the house. And that way we can accelerate the delivery of housing.
How large are the stands? Are they different sizes?
So we have from as small as 400 square meters up to about 3,000 square meters, just over half an
400
acre.
will be going for how much?
Around $50,000.
Okay, okay,
Yeah.
okay. Right. So, and Ken, your last words to the nation at large. I particularly like the fact that you spoke about every Zimbabwean taking the ambassadorial role in terms of spreading the word about our country. Because most of the times, when you hear about Zimbabwe, you think that it's a war zone. Yet, for those of us who stay here, we know what's happening on the ground. Your last words in terms of that area.
Yes. I would like to say, proudly Zimbabwean should be our motto. Not only for companies that are selling goods, consumer goods, not only for companies that are delivering services, but more importantly for individuals. We should be proud to be Zimbabwean. We should represent our country in a way that we would want others to like our country. If we start speaking badly about our country to others, who would want to come and visit our country? You don't hear of Americans talking badly about their country when they visit another country. When you see an American visiting Zimbabwe, you'll want to go and visit America because it sounds so beautiful. So that's how we have to be, as proud ambassadors of our country, to speak well about our country. Yes, we have our difficulties, we have our shortcomings, we even have our differences. We can discuss those internally amongst each other. We can have as much debate, as much argument as we want internally. But let's not take that noise and put it out there, because it's distorting the truth. It paints a false picture. Zimbabwe today has so many negative ratings, not because of what others have done to us, but because of what we've done to ourselves. So let's change the narrative. Let's change our mindset. You know, everything is about attitude in life, about your mindset. And the good thing is we're in control of our mindsets. We don't need anyone to teach us. We don't need anyone to tell us. We can control what we are portraying in our minds to someone else. So my message to everyone there is, yes, government has a role to play. And if the government provides a framework for doing business, the president has said Zimbabwe is open for business. He has a 20, 30-year vision. Let's support that. Let's work together, because we all benefit from building our country, from making our country better. It's up to each one of us. Each individual can make a difference. Let's focus on what we have control over instead of those things that we have no control over. Let's make a difference. Let's work together in unity. Let's promote Zimbabwe. Let's make Zimbabwe great again.
On that positive note, it leaves me but to thank you, Ken.
Thank you, sir.
It was interesting.
Thank you.
Being hosted by you. That was Ken Sharpe, the business mogul and the man behind real estate, who has done so much in terms of private property real estate development in Zimbabwe, sharing with us tidbits of his enterprise and calling on all to come on board and ensure that they tell the true Zimbabwean story. I'm your host, Rodrick Mashingaidze, and this is your show, Industry Watch. It's bye for now.